You have got to be kidding me. Even Azul, the early retirement guy, is jumping on this Apple Vision Pro trend. Okay, I'll bite. Hey Azul, what the heck does an Apple Vision Pro have to do with early retirement? Hey Azul, thanks. So other than me trying to convince my accountant that the Vision Pro is a business expense, what does the Vision Pro have to do with early retirement? And I think the biggest thing, and it's just an analogy, one of the things that keeps many of us from retiring early is just this fear of the unknown. It's a big transition. And for many, many people, once they get on the other side of that transition and they see what their life looks like, they're so glad that they made that transition earlier rather than later. And so one of the features in the Vision Pro is a feature called Immersion, where it really feels like, you're standing in an ice cold river in Alaska with a brown bear fishing mere feet away, or you're on a tightrope going across two cliffs 1,000 feet above the valley floor. And through this device, you can actually see what that world's like, and it transports you there instantly. And I think there's a powerful analogy there. For many of us, it's that transition into the new life. It's the uncertainty of that new life. And if somehow we could pop on some Vision Pros and it would show us what our life would look like once we've gone through that transition. The life, maybe you want to travel and you're traveling in foreign countries and getting to meet new people and hanging out at coffee shops and just having interesting conversations with interesting people. Or maybe you're really into a local not-for-profit and the Vision Pro could show you what your life would look like. So I've used this analogy enough, but it's the whole idea of the transition being scary, and it's the unknown. What does life look like on the other side? But whether you transition now or you transition in 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years, unless you're going to work until the day you die, you've got to do this transition. So why not do it now while you're young, you're healthy, and you have all your energy? Okay, Azul, back to you. Good chatting. Take care, everybody. As a fee-only financial advisor, I'm very fortunate. I get to work with hundreds of clients, and I've seen them go through the transition. And I don't want to downplay the transition itself. It's not for the faint of heart. For many of us, it can be a tough transition. Some people transition very smoothly, but if you're a AAA personality, if you really enjoy accomplishing things, if your identity is deeply tied to your career, even if, you kind of feel been there, done that, you're ready for the next chapter. Actually letting go of that prior chapter of your life and moving into the next chapter can be scary for many of us. However, once you're there, I think a lot of folks look back. In fact, I know because I've been working with hundreds of these people. Many people look back and say, I wish I had made the leap sooner. Since the Vision Pro doesn't offer immersion for retirement, let me give you some immersion. Let me give you a feel of what your new life could look like. It could be filled with adventure. You could be living in an international country where you and your life partner, you and your spouse, or if you're single, you're just out there solo traveling and just learning new cultures and just really soaking it all in. And not like the travel that we all do now when we're working, right? When we take a week off, maybe we're gone 10 days, 12 days. We've got 2 days of jet lag that we're recovering from on both ends. And frankly, by the time we come back from traveling, we need a vacation from our vacation. When you're retired, you don't have to worry about that. The biggest cost for most of us when we travel is the airfare. And so you can do something called slow travel when you're retired. You can actually put down roots. You can live like a local in a foreign country. You could rent an apartment for a month. You can get a gym membership down the street. You can get to know the person at the grocery store. You can be a regular at the coffee shops. And, during the pandemic, frankly, that's what I did. I was fortunate enough to be able to work remotely from several different foreign countries. And it was a life-changing event. So, that's just one immersion picture that I can paint for you. But everybody's is going to be different. So one is international travel. Another one might be able to spend quality time with aging parents who might not have that much longer here with us, or with our grandkids, and really get to know them in a special way that, a weekend, a grandparent that comes out 2 weeks a year or sees the kids, 1 or 2 days every other week. If you can be involved in your grandkids' life, maybe when your adult children and their spouse are heading off to work, maybe you become their primary caregiver for the grandkids, and you're going to have a different relationship. So I'm trying to paint a picture in your mind because Apple hasn't come out with this yet. I think it would be a killer feature, and I think it would save many of us years of our life that, if we don't take advantage of it now, we won't be able to. So I talked about this this transition. And there are 4 phases to this transition that I want you to know about. And those 4 phases, there's 2 phases that are wonderful, phase 1 and phase 4. But the 2 phases in between can be, that's the discomfort. That's what people are worried about. Okay, so what are those phases? The first phase is vacation, where it feels like you're on vacation. You've been working so hard. For a lot of us, you know, we're trying to leave our company that maybe we've been with for a decade, 2 decades or longer. So we're trying to tidy things up and leave on a good note. And so frankly, we're exhausted when we finally cross that finish line and retire. You're going to be tired. And retirement is going to look like those postcards. It's going to look like the pictures on the websites for the big custodians, people selling retirement plans and stuff like that. It's going to feel like vacation. You're going to enjoy sitting on a beach. You're going to enjoy, if you drink alcohol, drinking a margarita. You're just going to relax and de-stress. And you know, that feeling can last 6 months to 2 years. And I just encourage you to run with that, to roll with that as long as you can, because the next 2 phases are difficult. This is kind of the valley of getting ready for the retirement transition. The next phase is a feeling of loss, and you have lost a lot. When we retire, we gain a lot, and I think we gain a lot more than what we lose. But you know, we're kidding ourselves if we think that there's not going to be any loss associated with retiring. We're giving up a lot. We're giving up our routine. We're giving up our identity. You go to a party and somebody asks what you do. Well, super easy, right? I'm the vice president of marketing. I'm the vice president of customer service. I'm the director of HR, whatever our roles are. It's very easy to encapsulate who we are in a way that somebody that doesn't know us understands. And we can do that in 5, 6, 7 different words, right? But don't worry, you can come up with your phrase that works on the other side. For instance, I encourage my clients when somebody asks them at a party, you know, so what do you do? You know, I'm retired and I'm enjoying doing this, or my passion is this, and to transition into those conversations that we all find more meaningful. So this feeling of loss is phase 1. We lose our routine. We lose our identity. We're going to lose some relationships, some people that we're very close to at work. I wish I could tell you that your best friend from work is still going to be your best friend after working, and hopefully that's the case, but in many, many cases it's not. We're going to lose our sense of purpose for a while until we find a new sense of purpose, right? It was just easy. We knew who we were. We knew what our purpose was. And then for some people that maybe were higher up in the ranks of the company, you've got some power, and power feels good, right? It's intoxicating, and it's difficult to give that up once that you've had it. But for the vast majority of us, and I should say this isn't financial advice for your specific situation, I'm just trying to share what I've seen after coaching people, after mentoring people, after advising my clients for over 20 years through this transition. Okay, so that's the big 5. That's what we lose. And then unfortunately, we also face the 3 Ds, and these can be really challenging. You know, we face maybe divorce. Our life is going to be very different. We're getting out of the routine. So if you're in a rocky marriage now, it might get rockier before it gets more solid. And if that's you, invest in it now. Invest in it ahead of time. Invest the time. Go to therapy. Do what you can if you think the relationship can be saved, okay? One of the 3 Ds, it's divorce, depression, and decline. Depression, unfortunately, about 20% of people are going to face depression when they make that transition. So some people would say, well, Azul, then why are you telling me that I should retire early if 20-25% of people are going to face depression? Well, it's almost, you know, that's the same numbers for postpartum depression after having a child. Does that mean if a woman has had postpartum depression or thinks that she would, that she shouldn't have a kid? Of course not, right? You want to raise, if you want a family, you want to raise that family, you want to have that family. And you're probably going to have more depression down the road if you don't face a little bit of discomfort for a period of time. I want you to put these things on your radar screen so you're prepared. Okay, divorce, depression, and decline. And the decline is both our physical, right? Our physical decline. It'll be harder for us to climb up 500 stairs to see something. It'll be harder to do the 2-day sunset hike into Machu Picchu in Peru when we get older. So we're all facing physical decline. Our bodies aren't meant to last forever, unfortunately. And then also mental decline, right? Right now, we probably have, most of us watching this video have our full mental acuity. And unfortunately, that's not going to last forever, right? And in fact, at 60 years old, most of us are looking at less than 1,000 weeks of healthy, active time where we have our full mental acuity. So we want to take advantage of it. So these are the 3 Ds that we're going to face. So what do we do? How do we get through that valley of loss into the next phase, which is where we start working working on reinventing ourselves. That's phase 3, and that's probably going to be trial and error. We're going to have to try different things. And unfortunately, it's going to be disappointing if we try something. Let's say there's a not-for-profit in town that you've always been passionate about, and you say, I'm going to get more involved. And you find out how the sausage is made and say, no, that's not for me. You know, the reality is you're probably going to go through 3, 5, 7 of these things until you find the new thing for you. But I encourage you to keep iterating and give yourself permission to say, you know what, thanks for letting me explore this. It's not for me, and move on to the next one. Because once we get through that, once we've reinvented ourselves, which is really what the next phase is about, is you are now rewired. You have found your sense of purpose and your passion, whether that's giving back. I can say for a lot of my clients, they found that sense of purpose in one way or another by serving other people. Not always. People that do international travel, there may not be a big service component to that, but oftentimes giving back to society, helping others, can give a great sense of purpose. There's a great book that talks about all of this and talking about finding your next strength. It's a book by a gentleman by the name of Arthur Brooks, and the book's called From Strength to Strength. I highly recommend it. I also highly recommend watching this video here, which is 8 things that I want you to stop doing as you approach your 50s and 60s in order to enjoy the journey more.